now we got deviation levels. We got one more after that. Okay, then we're done. So deviation levels right here. Looking at these values, like we post these every night at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. We have them right now for select markets. They're on our website, but they also auto-plot into your NinjaTrader. We'll be adding over 3,000 stocks, ETFs, indices, 40 futures markets, and like a couple dozen Forex pairs as well. But right now, this is what we got, and which covers pretty much almost all the Nadex markets. Now, you can read this on the PDF, but what I'm going to show you is how to do it just looking at the chart, because it gets really confusing. And all you got to do is look at 10-minute bars and the close. Okay? And we have a chart that you can set up, and I showed you how to do that yesterday on how to set up the 10-minute deviations. So make sure you go back and look at that if you didn't look at the video that shows you how to set up the chart. But it's just File, New, Bars, 10 minutes, and then you use the Apex Deviation Stop template. But what you're looking at right here, okay, and initial news, right there, we get in the trade, we're in, we have a stop loss, then this bar closes above this deviation level right here. The 10-minute bar closes above this deviation level. Alright, now I'm going to move up my stop. And then a bar subsequently closes below the 10-minute deviation level. And then it moves back above the 10-minute deviation level without hitting my stop loss. So I'm going to trail my stop again. Now it closes above a 10-minute deviation level again. I'm going to trail my stop again. Then it closes above a 10-minute deviation level again, and I'm going to trail my stop again. Okay? Then it comes around and it hits my stop loss right there. Then gold fell 20 points. So I'm glad I got out. Still 5 ticks, exactly. 5 ticks on all of them. 5 ticks, 5 ticks, 5 ticks. Now, I may have an apex in between all this, okay? So I might have an apex right here. So I might get to move it again. I might have a P and E right here and I get to move it again. Then I have an X right here and I get to move it again. So you might get to move it even more often. The idea is to have layers of these going on, okay? So that we're able to move it as fast as possible, but with as much room as possible to give the market room to run. And same thing on the short side. So I got an entry right here to go short. And then this bar closes below the 10-minute deviation. Trail my stop. This bar then closes below the 10-minute deviation, and I trail my stop. It then closes above the deviation without hitting my stop up here, and closes back below the deviation, and I trail my stop. And then it closes above it again without hitting my stop loss up here, and closes back below it again, same deviation level, and I trail it again. So I have to move it 3 times on the same deviation level. And then this one closes just right below, like a tick below the deviation, gets it trailed again. Then it comes around, it hits my stop, and then it goes in oscillation for hours. So I'm glad I got out. Alright, that's how you use the 10-minute deviation stop method. Yellow, red, what's the difference? Oh, it doesn't matter. It's just arrows. It's 5 ticks above or below. Okay? Brent, that's all it is. I'm just basically just a drawing on the chart. But yeah, 5 ticks above the 10-minute bar on shorts or below the 10-minute bars low on longs. Thomas, I've been simulating CL after the first hour, and I've made over $1,000 as that beginner's luck, or is it always like this? Well, I can't tell you always, but that's how the Apex works if you just follow the rules. That's what it should do. All right. So, how many monitors do you have right now? I have 10 monitors. Actually, I have 11. Plus, I have 3 other computers. Let's see here. I added another one, but let's see. 5 ticks, yes. How do you put a stop loss into NinjaTrader? Let me show you that. That's a really good question. That's important to know how to do. So you need to go to, by the way, go to education, go to Ninja Trader, and watch our videos on the DOM. It's very, very, very helpful. Like, seriously, go watch the video. Okay? I'm going to teach you, but you want to really know your platform. All right. Right click on this and go to properties and set middle mouse button. Where is it at? It's on here. Middle mouse button is stop market. Set that to true. Okay? And then click OK. Right there. You can also use stop market for stop loss orders. Okay? If you want to. Now you can use stop limit or stop market. I like using stop market, so for stop loss orders. But anyway, so you put that in, and you can also add depth to this. So we can go to properties, we can make it deeper. Like I have mine pretty narrow on purpose right now for the trade room, but I can make this like 30 if I wanted to. I recommend you make it as big as your chart can take it. And let's see here, 1 second. There we go. So let's say, I'll get this on sim right now. So let's just say I get in, buy right there, or buy right there. Okay. Gold's not moving at all if I don't feel anything. But let's say I had bought here. Okay. Then I put in a, there we go. That forced it. Thought that would do it. Now, let's say I want to have a stop loss on the trade. Okay. Then I'll put that right there. I'll middle click my mouse button. And now I have a stop loss order in. So if it comes down to hit 1646.2, I'm out. And then up here, now I have a stop take profit order. So now if it hits 1247.3, I took profit. So that's how you take profit, be the same thing on the other side. So there we go. All right, now that my profit's been taken on one of my contracts, let's just take our profit. There we go. There's $100. Ching. Okay. Why does it matter the 10-minute bar is used? The reason for that is because I tried it on the deviation levels, Brian, and I discovered this 10-minute thing just because of my radio show. I was doing it every single day, and I just noticed, hey, when it closes above, that makes a different, I don't trade on the 10-minute bars. I just use that as another method for a stop loss, or a trailing stop. And I just noticed the pattern, because I flip through these on my screen every day on my radio show. And I noticed, I'm like, wow, it seems to be a really good, and it is. It's a really good indicator when the market's done and cooked and going to turn around. And it's a lot of big boys like to use 10-minute bars, so I don't think they're good bars to take entries on. But a lot more. It works very, very well. And then so I guess you could call it coincidental, but I've seen it now for about a year, where I look at it every day, and the only reason I use it is trailing stops. So that's it. And then and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give it room to let it run. So, and a 10-minute bar basically is big without being too big. And sometimes, I'm not saying it's perfect. That's why I have 7 trailing stops. But sometimes nothing else triggers but the 10-minute deviation. And so that helps. Like, let's say we don't get an apex at the top or something, and it's flying up, flying up, flying up, and then it just starts flying back the other direction. Well, if it flew up and closed above the 10-minute bar, closed above the deviation, flew back. And the other thing is the diagnostic bars are too smooth to do this on. If you try to do this 5 ticks below every time it closes like above on a diagnostic bar, above the deviation level, you'll get kicked out every time because they're so smooth. So I needed something that wasn't as, really a bar that wasn't as friendly. Let's see here. You could set those up on OCO, Brian, except for that's only if you're doing the profit popper method. We'll talk about that next week. But we're not really doing OCOs. We're just trailing stops. So you're not really doing OCO. Unless you're doing a pure profit popper. As for Ninja, I like using Chart Trader, especially with Apex stops. That's another thing you can do. So you can actually pull up your chart and you can trade right off of your chart with Ninja, which is really cool, especially considering we're trading price action. So right here, there's a button for Chart Trader. Maybe that's not it. One next to it, one of these. Strategies, indicators. You can tell I don't use Chart Trader that much. There it is. So on Chart Trader, it's pretty cool because you can right click and you can say, you know, put an order in for me, and you can drag your orders. So it's a really easy way to adjust your entries. So if you're having a hard time keeping up, here would be an idea for you. Okay. So let's say we're looking to go short on a trade. Where are we at? Over here. All right, say we're looking to go long. Yeah, it's just running an automated strategy in the background. Then I put in a buy stop or a buy stop limit. Okay. And as it's moving, I could literally just grab it and move it down each time there's a new bar, and it helped me actually be faster. So this is probably the fastest and easiest way to keep up with, you know, the trades. Would be Chart Trader versus the DOM. I like the DOM because I read the DOM, but if you're having a hard time keeping up, that would be a way to do it. So that's it. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, we're about to do the break-even one, and then that's all the rules. If we don't want to miss trades, can you show us how to set a sound alert when a P or an E bar showing? There's no sound alert for a P, because a P, you would be pissed. Because every time it makes a lower low, you're going to get P bar, P bar, P bar, P bar, P bar. So like it's sort of like velocity alerts, but worse. Velocity alerts can get overwhelming too. The E bar, that's the market analyzer. So you'll need to set up the market analyzer. If you don't know how, if you'll watch the video I put up from yesterday on Ninja Traders, the second video on that page, and it's at 25 minutes and 25 seconds. Okay, Christian? 25 minutes and 25 seconds into the second video, we'll show you how to set up the market analyzer, and it will actually make an audio alert for you when there is an Apex entry. And it'll put it in your alert window. So it's very, very helpful. Like right here, it just made an Apex alert for oil. Okay? And that just means there's a pending E. Let's see here. Got that. Let's see here. And then, yeah, there's videos on Chart Trader. Just go to Education Ninja Trader. It'll show you how to use the DOM, how to use Chart Trader. It's one of the really cool features. And on Ninja's website under Education, they have free education they do every day teaching you how to use it. Let's see. Yeah, Steve, if you'll ask me the help desk, I'll let you know where it is. I think there's one on there. But it's really simple. So the DOM is very helpful for depth of market. I really like to look at depth of market. But, you know, because there's a level of volume. It's helpful during the day. Right now, I mean, gold has like one contract on each side, so it's sort of useless. But it can be helpful. Let's see here. We got else. Red velocity bar, yellow velocity bar. What's the difference? If you right-click on the indicator and look at the velocity bar, it'll actually tell you what the difference is. Yellow velocity bar means the bar took less than a second to form. Ninja could not even time it. That's how far the bar. That's how fast the bar was formed. So it was less than a second. Was unclockable. Yeah, data box, just click on the magnifying glass to see your data box. Exactly. When the P comes up, you can know the entry price because you know the bars are always the same size. If you do a little math, you'll figure it out real quick. The range indicator is really helpful. You know it's going to be 2 ticks above the range indicator or 2 ticks below the range indicator every time. So if I'm buying, you know, and the E bar here forms, like right there. Where's the E bar going to form? It's going to form right here. Boom. I mean, you play with it a little bit, you'll know it. But so yeah, so those who have a little more difficult with discipline and speed, chart trader will be better for you than a DOM. Looking at the DOM is still helpful, but that's a style thing. Yeah, I've heard that NT8 will track in like nanoseconds, which will be great. But in the meantime, we've actually recorded ours to accurately track volume, despite NinjaTrader's inability to do it. So, which is pretty cool.